Hi everyone. In this video, I am going to discuss about pricing. So in the previous video, we have discussed about the marketing mix, or also known as the 4 Ps of marketing. And it is a framework that we can make use of to develop effective marketing strategies. So this considers these four key elements: the product, the place, the price, and the promotion. So for this video, I am going to focus on pricing. So assuming that you have a bag and then you have a stove, so how do you know that you can set a price of 5,999 for a bag, but only 2,557.50 for a stove? Okay, so price is the amount of money that customers are willing to pay for a product or a service. So basically, in other words, it is the amount of money that is charged for a product or a service. So this sums it is the sum of all the values that consumers give up in order to gain the benefits of having or using a product or a service. So out of all the out of all the element in the marketing mix, which includes the product, the price, the place, and the promotion, the price is the only element that produces revenue. So the rest of the 4 Ps represent cost. Okay, so setting the right price is crucial for achieving sales and profit. Okay, and there are so many things that we have to consider. So this could include the production costs, or maybe the market demand, the competitor pricing, and then also the kind of pricing strategy that you employ, as well as the perceived na value by your customers. Okay, so there are some internal factors and then external factors that we have to consider when making or when setting a price. So the internal factors could include the marketing mix strategy that we use, or the marketing objectives, or the cost, or the organizational considerations. So for marketing mix strategy, so the pricing should be consistent with other elements of the marketing mix, such as the product quality, features, as well as branding. So the price should reflect the perceived value of the product or service in the eyes of the target market. And of course, it should, when you are making or when you are setting up price, so it should also align with your startup's overall objectives. Okay, so for example, if the goal is to penetrate a new market or gain market share, so you can employ a lower pricing strategy. So conversely, if their aim is to position the product as high-end or exclusive, so you can use a premium pricing strategy. Okay, so yeah, depends on your objectives. You can choose your pricing strategy. So also for the cost, and you must also consider the cost of the production, like the raw materials that you use, or maybe since you are using a software, what are the the how would you are you going to outsource your product? Who is going to develop your software? Okay, are you going to buy some packages, or maybe are you going to subscribe in the cloud? So things like that you have to consider um, for the cost of your production. So the price should be set high enough to cover all these costs, and so you can achieve profitability. Okay, so what about for the external factors? So the external factors could include the nature of the market and demand, as well as the competition, and the environmental factors like the economy or the government. So understanding the demand for the product or service is, of course, crucial. So we should consider factors such as customer preferences, purchasing power, market size, as well as trends. So for the competition or the competitor na pricing, so we should be able to analyze the prices set by competitors also, because it will help the businesses position themselves in the market, okay, and will help them differentiate from their not opponents but competitors, okay. Yeah. And then economic factors or environmental na factors. So we could consider conditions like the inflation or interest rates as well as income levels, because this can also influence the pricing decisions. So for example, in periods of economic na downturn, so businesses might have to adjust the prices in order to remain competitive and to continue stimulating demand. Okay. And yeah, understanding how much value consumers place on the benefits they receive from the product and setting a price that captures the value. Okay, so we have the cost-based pricing, the customer-based pricing, and the competition-based na pricing. Okay, so the cost-based na pricing is the traditional na way of pricing. But after pa ito mag-conduct ka ng technical na feasibility. So, yun mo palang malalaman yung cost talaga ng product. So, you need to set it early and to work your marketing efforts around this price. So, you can also compare with your competitors, but you should look into their market na positioning and set your price based on your target na position. So, moreover, you can conduct a survey with your customers for customer-based na pricing, and you can also ask how much they are willing to pay for the product or service that you are offering. Okay, so these are the general na pricing approaches. So for the cost-based na pricing, as we mentioned, this is the traditional na approach, and you will only know this after you have conducted your technical feasibility or you have assessed all your possible na mga production costs. Okay, so the cost-based pricing is the simplest the pricing method. And it's a pricing strategy that determines the selling price of a product or service based on the costs involved in the production, the distribution, as well as selling the product. Okay, so this primarily considers all the internal factors of the business. As I have mentioned, yung mga factors na na-mention ko kanina, like yung mga production costs or overhead expenses, or yung mga desired mo ng mga profit na margins. Okay? Yeah. So markup na pricing remains popular for many reasons. So sellers are more certain about costs than about demand, and also prices tend to be similar, and the price competition is thus minimized, and many feel that the cost plus pricing is fairer to both the buyers as well as the sellers. Okay, so what about the customer-based na pricing? So the customer-based na pricing, aka the value-based na pricing, uses the buyer's perception of value, not the seller's cost, as the key to pricing. So as I have mentioned before, you can conduct some strategies. You can conduct some surveys with your customers, and you can ask how much they are willing to pay for your product. Anyway, as I mentioned, this is also known as the value-based pricing. And it focuses on the perceived value of the product or service in the eyes of your customers. Okay, and not the seller's cost. So it considers external factors like customer preferences or the needs, as well as their willingness to pay. So there are some considerations when you are using the customer-based pricing. So this could include the customer segmentation or value proposition, as well as price elasticity. So regarding the customer segmentation, so this identifies the customer segments and their distinct preferences and needs. Okay, so based on this, you can set differentiated price based on their perceived value, on the perceived value of each customer segment. Okay, so also understanding your value prop, or how you would benefit or how you would satisfy the customer needs will also help in determining the optimal price, because well, customers are willing to pay more if they perceive a greater value. And lastly, for the price elasticity that I have mentioned, so price elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of demand to price changes. So this can help, I mean, the businesses to determine the price that maximizes their revenue or profit. And lastly, for the competition-based pricing, so as the name suggests, this involves pricing based on the strategies and offerings of your competitors. Okay, so this approach considers external factors that are related to market conditions and the competitive landscape. Okay.